Hey guys, it's Jason here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the video. I picked up a Traxxas Jato 4x4 VXL. Now, if you remember 2 or 3 months ago, I had bought the green BL2S version, and then I had gone ahead and bought all the parts for it. So I bought the green GTR shocks, I bought a Castle ESC and motor for it. I had purchased some parts for the slipper clutch to beef that up. And I had the 17mm hexes. I kind of, guys, bought everything to basically build my own version of this buggy. And I don't know what happened. I went out and ran it. I got it home. I cleaned it. I put it back on the shelf, and that is where it sat. And I was on Zone Hobby's website one day, and I noticed that they had gotten these in stock. And I thought, you know what? Maybe I should just buy the Jato. And guys, before I knew it, I had clicked myself through the cart and I had bought one. And I then was talking to a buddy of mine about it, and he was like, what are you gonna do with the green one? I said, I don't know. He's like, can I buy it? And I gave him a price, and the BL2S version, guys, is gone. The green shocks and all that stuff is gone for it. We now have the Jato 4x4 VXL. Now, guys, I am really pumped for this because at the time of this video, I've already ran this once, but I ran it once on this Gens Ace 5500 milliamp pack and got over 30 minutes of runtime. So that would be pretty much almost, guys, like 2 to 3 runs in, let's say, something like an Arma 223S, because those only get like 10 to 12 minutes of runtime. You're going to hear me talk a lot in this video about the Jato 4x4 VXL versus some of the other Traxxas cars in this style. So the 3S Stampede, Rustler / 4x4, the rally car. But you are also going to hear me talk about or compare this to my Big Rock 223S. Now, I know you're thinking, why am I comparing the Buggy to a monster truck? Well, one, I went out and I took them out, guys, on the same day. So I guess I should start here first. And again, guys, this video is going to be all over the place. So just trust me right now. If you're interested in the Jato, you're going to want to watch this. Sit down, get comfortable, because I got a lot to talk about. When I initially, guys, had started unboxing this and doing the unboxing video thing, I got it out, I sat it down, and I was like, oh man, this thing looks wicked. I took the body off, started, kind of giving the Buggy a good, once over, and I immediately, right then and there, knew that I wanted to drive it. I didn't even want to finish the video, and I think I was doing that on like a late Friday afternoon. And I knew I was going out Saturday because Saturday was going to be an okay day. We're still winter here, but it was going to be a not so bad day, like 0 degrees or -1 Celsius. So I immediately got the body off, took the wheels and tires off, grabbed my Moose Lick, and I gave both the Jato 4x4 and the Big Rock 223S a coating so that they would be good to go. And I charged up that 5500 milliamp pack and 2 7000 milliamp packs for the Big Rock, assuming that the majority of my time was going to be spent behind the Big Rock, and that this was going to be more of just kind of a shakedown run. I was going to get a feel for the ESC, probably find ways of not liking it because I never liked Traxxas ESCs, and that's it. So I get out, I run the Big Rock first, and again, guys, after about 11, 12 minutes, it cut out, and that was it. So I was like, well, I got a second battery for it, but I might as well give the Jato 4x4 a run, rip it around a couple of minutes, and that's it. 33 minutes later, with a smile on my face the whole time, this thing is just awesome. It impressed me, guys, so much. So in this video, it's sort of an unboxing, not really. We're going to go over, guys, some of the specs. We're going to go over what makes this a better purchase than the BL2S version, which is going to be kind of obvious, but also where does this fit in with the other Traxxas cars, the Rustler, the Slash, the Rally car, the Stampede. Where does this fit in with other companies like Arma's lineup? And I'm going to say this, guys, right off the bat, this thing is friggin' awesome. It weighs a pound less and is 4S than the 223S Typhon. Now, I understand that the 223S system seems to be running on 4S. I would say, guys, the verdict isn't really out on that. We don't know how long that's going to last. Who knows? But either way, what we're going to do in this video, guys, is we're going to get into the specs first. We're going to cover a few basic things that I would have been doing if I had done an unboxing video, things that you need to know before even ordering the Buggy. Now, none of that is going to keep you from ordering it. It's just things that you may want to order while you're ordering the Buggy. But then we're going to get into the fun factor of this Buggy, guys, and what it was like to drive. I'm going to throw a few running clips in the video so that you can see what I'm kind of talking about. I still got to put the whole running video together. But this thing, guys, was absolutely awesome. So if you're in the market for this Buggy and you're familiar with the Traxxas lineup of this style of chassis, the LCG chassis, or just any of the 3S Traxxas lineup, and you're kind of thinking like, well, do I need a Jato 4x4 VXL? Or maybe you're looking at other cars and you're asking yourself, well, do I want to spend more money? Because, hey, this is a Buggy. It's low to the ground. It's not going to jump. It's not going to do any of that. First off, just buy it. You don't even need to finish watching this video to know that. This thing, guys, was absolutely freaking amazing. But it just, guys, I'm going to be all over the place in this video. But yes, just buy the Buggy because you're going to enjoy it. The fun factor for the Traxxas Jato 4x4 VXL, guys, is off the charts compared to so many other cars in that kind of realm, that when I got home from driving this, I did the most bonkers thing ever. I have been contemplating the Rustler Ultimate for months and months and months, probably almost a year. And I came home and immediately not just bought the Rustler Ultimate, I also bought the center diff for it, because I do really think that a lot of the fun with this Buggy does come from that center diff and the 4S system. That definitely adds to it, guys. So again, this video is going to be all over the place. I do kind of apologize that it's just going to, it's going to seem, guys, like 1 minute I'm here and 1 minute I'm there, but I can't stress this, guys, enough. I am so impressed with this Buggy. I'm so excited for this Buggy. And I have so much to talk about. Now, what I want to do first is just go over some of the basics. So you have the standard Traxxas servo. Who cares? I don't even need to tell you guys the model. It works. It's slow. It's going to get upgraded. Will it work out of the box? Yeah. For how long? Who knows? But either way, it's there. You have a TQI receiver with the TQI radio. Here's what you need to know about that. And technically, guys, the ESC. So one of the cool things about this new 4S ESC is that not only is it 4S, not only does it have the same footprint as a VXL 3S, but it also now has a switchable BEC, so from 6 volts to 7.4. But it comes 6 volts out of the box. So by default, it's set to 6 volts because of this servo. If you want to switch this to 7.4, there's no program card, there's no beep, 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 or bap, bap, bap to get it into 7.4. You need the Bluetooth module to switch it. So the funny thing was, when I was buying this Buggy and I was going through the manual online and I saw that, I thought, oh man. So I immediately ordered the Bluetooth module. For some of you keen Traxxas people, you're going to be like, hey, the Traxxas Rustler Ultimate already has the Bluetooth module. Yes, it does. But I'd ordered that first and I already had it here before I ordered the Rustler. So if you get this Buggy and you don't have the Bluetooth module and you plan on changing out the servo, you do need to order the Bluetooth module so that you can do that. Back, guys, onto the ESC for a bit. This thing is awesome. So you're going to hear me talk a lot in this video about that. I do not like Traxxas ESCs at all. You will probably not find a video on my channel where I'm running a Traxxas, especially if I'm running the stock ESC, where I'm happy about it. I never like the feel of it. I never like the way the throttle comes on. I never like the way the brake comes on. They cut out at times. I just never like them. And I've tried the Bluetooth thing. I've tried adjustment. I've tried altering everything. It never seems to work out the way I like it. It just never has a good feel to it. This is phenomenal. It flew, guys, amazing. The control in the air was great. On the ground, it was great. And it's something I'm not going to be changing. So that's a big deal for me to say that a Traxxas car is not going to get an ESC upgrade. I can sort of tolerate the VXL 3S ESC, but everything above that, so the 4S one that was in the Max, garbage. 6S one that was in the Sledge, garbage. 8S one, horrible. That's not the case with this. This is a new ESC, and it actually, guys, feels like a completely, whoever the OEM is for this, I don't think it's the same company that makes their other ESCs, because this thing is awesome. You still have the this has been out, guys, for a bit now. This motor, it's in the Stampede, it was in the Haas, and it's in the Traxxas Max 4S. It's the 540 size, longer can, 2400 kV. I've always thought that in my Stampede that runs that motor with the 3S ESC, that it just needs so much more. It seems to just get to the height of the RPMs, the max RPMs, so fast. And oddly enough, this is kind of the same way, except this comes on, guys, like an absolute missile. And again, you're going to see in this video, guys, I'm going to throw a couple of clips in where you'll see me accelerating. We're going to probably do that, guys, when we start talking about the tires. But this combo, ESC, motor, phenomenal. I didn't actually, guys, mind the TQI radio with this ESC either, which was kind of odd because I don't usually like their radios either. But running it with this feels pretty good. So we're going to switch it out, guys. I've got the IXSR there in the corner. I'm going to be switching out to that because, hey, why have a $1,000 radio? Remember, guys, I'm Canadian. Why have a $1,000 radio if you're not going to run it in most of your cars? So this will stay the same. This will stay the same. Oddly enough, these dish rims are going to stay the same because these tires are freaking awesome. And the servo, though, guys, will go. Now, before we get into the impressions part, guys, of the video, where I'm going to talk about the Jato, compare it with some of the other Traxxas cars, compare it with just other cars in that category altogether, whether it be Arma, whatever, I just thought I would show you guys some of the other bodies that I picked up for the Buggy. When I ordered this Buggy, obviously, guys, you saw the black, red, and blue body. I actually, guys, wanted this body. I wanted the pink one, but it wasn't in stock. They had already sold out of them. So I ordered the blue, black, and red one because I also wanted the blue anodizing. And the reason I wanted the blue anodizing was I just prefer the blue anodizing, but I also find that it looks good with all the bodies. So you saw it earlier with the black, red, and blue one. You're seeing it now with the pink and purple body. And here it is with the green body. And once again, guys, I just think that the blue anodizing suits all the colors. And this one I actually, guys, bought for the BL2S version because I like this body more than the BL2S version of the green body. But when I was selling the Buggy to my buddy, I did say I want to keep it. So I've got the 3 bodies. And in the running video, guys, this is the body that I ran. I was kind of, before I was going out, I played with the 3 bodies. I kind of kept putting them on. And this was the one that I just liked the most. Now, what I want to talk about next, guys, is the driving and the handling of the Buggy. So this does not come with sway bars. However, after driving it, guys, and I mean, again, I've only got the one run. I've got, like I mentioned, guys, around 30 to 33 minutes of runtime on it. I actually, guys, felt like it doesn't need sway bars. Now, maybe if you were on a track and you were hardcore looking for handling, maybe you would. But for me, just from a fun factor bashing point of view, this thing was perfect. And I'm going to address one thing because some of you keen eye guys may have noticed this. I did break one of the front arms right here where it goes into the hinge pin. And I replaced, or I've ordered, they actually show up today, a set of the RPM arms to see, first of all, guys, if they fit. As far as I know, when I looked up these arms and I was on Traxxas' website, they show these as option parts for everything else. So the Rustler, I think the Stampede, the Slash 4x4, or the Rally car, I don't remember exact everything, but it does show it as an option part for a lot of the other cars. So I'm assuming, guys, that the RPM ones are going to work. The only difference thing I noticed is that back here, they have this little mount, which again, I'm assuming, guys, is for the sway bars, and the RPM arms don't have that. However, I'm not all that concerned in it. I am more concerned, guys, about the durability in the arms because everything else on the Buggy is fine, and that was the only part I broke. I was out winter. Again, -1, guys, is still cold. -1 for us is nice if you're out and you're out for a walk, but it's still cold on plastics. And because I got so much runtime, the Buggy did spend a lot of time running so that the actual plastic itself, guys, probably got even colder. I was in snow at times. I got stuck at times. So, and I don't even know when that happened. I noticed it when I got home and I was cleaning the Buggy and I kind of moved this a little bit and I was like, what the? And then that's when I realized that I broke it. So I probably at one point was still driving it broken. But this thing, guys, is unbelievable. And going back, guys, to the weight, because this weighs what it weighs a pound less than the 223S Typhon, it just soars. You need next to no speed. And I'm going to throw a clip up, guys, right now. I am putting up to this jump. You can see I'm not fast. I'm not going fast at all. I give it a little bit of a blip right when I get to the ramp, but you can see this thing soar with next to no throttle. I would say, guys, maybe 1/5 of the trigger. I don't know, in there somewhere. and it just flew, which has me really excited. Now, again, we got to deal with the arms, and I don't know, guys, if this broke because of the cold. Maybe there was a landing that I just didn't notice, but RPM does have goodies for that. They've also, guys, got the, I don't know if it's a front bulkhead. I don't know what this underpiece is. They've also got RPM parts for the LCG chassis for that too, because driving this and seeing what it can do, guys, I want to launch this friggin' thing. I want to see what this thing can do. And as soon as the temperature allows me, because I'm not sending it when it's cold. You're just asking for problems. But once it gets nicer, guys, I want to send this. A lot of the videos that I've seen on this buggy have been based, they're all on a track. I think Mark Santa Maria, he's got one where he's actually out in the field and he's jumping it and he's having a good time with it. But he also broke something in that video too. So we're going to address those things and hopefully, guys, get those fixed. Maybe he broke an axle. I don't remember. My axles, guys, are fine. Shocks are fine. Shocks are still smooth as butter. So overall, guys, durability wise, I think this thing is going to be awesome once we get a couple of those things fixed. Again, though, going back, guys, to the performance, this thing soared. It was so crazy to watch it jump. There is great control. The ESC feels fantastic when you want to brake, you want to give it throttle, whatever you need to do, it works. And the other thing, guys, I need to add when it comes to just driving it is how well these tires work. I am not a fan of pin tires because honestly, I don't like the way they look. However, I think I owe a lot of the driving on that pavement and that dirt surface, I owe a lot to these tires because I think that was probably part of the problem. So again, I keep going back to the big rock and the fact that it was all over the place, but I think it's because of these tires that this thing did so well in that run, guys, because it was just friggin' crazy. Every time I gunned it, it just darted off and went. And a few times it was actually my fault for trying to, overcorrect, or, how I would usually, kind of gun and then veer a little bit one way to compensate for what I thought was going to come. And that just wasn't the case. The TSM, guys, itself, these tires just sent the buggy running. Now, while we're on the topic of the tires, I also have to add that these things were great in the snow. I did expect to, every single time I jumped, to have to go dig the buggy out. I didn't expect it to run along the snow like it did. And whether it's between the weight of the buggy, the chassis layout, or these tires, this thing ran great in the snow. It just flew along. You can hear it. It sounds pretty good. Yeah, I'm pinned most of the time, guys, to keep the snow, to keep the tires spinning so that the snow keeps going, but it was super fun that way. Now, I probably will pick up a set of the sledgehammers, like the BL2S version of the tires, just to kind of run back and forth depending on where I'm running. I don't want to wear these things down too fast. I was actually kind of worried about that in this run, but they still, guys, look brand new, so they're still good to go. Now, for the next part of this video, you guys are going to have to work with me because I've got a lot to say, and I'm going to be all over the place, and some people aren't going to like what I have to say, especially the Arma guys, but it's just got to be said. So I know I've mentioned already that this buggy does weigh a pound less than the 223S, which is huge. And the fact that this is a 4S buggy makes it that much more fun. The price of the Jato 4x4 VXL is fairly high. A 223S Typhon is less money. A Team Corelli Synchro 4 is less money. And then pretty much everything else in the Traxxas lineup of this style of car is also less money. But the way I looked at it was this. A BL2S version is what it is. And I'm not going to, guys, go into each individual price, comparing the shops or comparing Traxxas' websites or Canadian prices, none of that. What I'm going to say is this. You look at the price of the BL2S, and then you look at the price of the VXL 4S. And pretty much for the cost of a system, depending on which one you go with, if you go with the Castle, it's going to be even more money. If you go with a Hobby Wing, it might be a little bit less. But for the price of a system, you're almost the same price as this. So if you bought a BL2S and you decide that you want to go to a 4S or a high quality 3S system, you're going to spend the same amount of money. Except on this version, you get the GTR shocks, you get the 17 millimeter wheel hexes right out of the box, because on the BL2S they were plastic. You also get the center differential, and I often talk about the center differential as being, cool and all, but a nice slipper isn't bad either. But I did have a lot more fun with this buggy today than I've had with any of the other Traxxas 3S cars. Now, yes, 4S versus 3S, guys, is huge, but this thing did handle really well. So again, I showed you guys earlier with the Wrestler 4x4 Ultimate that I also bought the center diff for it. You get the aluminum brace. You get obviously the different wheels and tires. You get the different color body. You still get the same wing, and the diffs are the same. It's not like the Mini-Max diffs, whatever those weird diffs are that don't hold up to anything. This to me is the way it should have been right out of the box, and it should have been the only Buggy they released. I say that because this ESC still has a training mode. So if you wanted to, you can drop it down to 50%, or you just throw a 2S LiPo in it and run it on 2S. So that's the weird thing with Traxxas, because when I look at this Buggy and the price of it compared to the BL2S, this seems fine. But the BL2S version is too much money to begin with. So I could kind of go on and on, guys, forever there. All I can say is, overall, when you look at this Buggy, you look at everything that you get with it. This now, guys, again, in the past, I would be complaining about this ESC and I would be pulling it out and selling it for a couple of bucks here. That's not the case. I really like this ESC. The motor does great in this Buggy. There's no cooling or anything on it yet. There's no heat sink. I don't know if heat sinks are going to fit with it being a Buggy. I'm going to try that at one point. I don't think I'm going to be able to do a heat sink and fan, but hopefully you guys get some type of heat sink on there. But everything so far, guys, has been completely spot on. And with comparing something like this, guys, to, let's say, converting a /4x4, you know what? You're going to spend a lot more money, because you're going to have to do the Buggy, or the Buggy body, the wing, wheels and tires, the 17mm hexes, getting the 4S ESC, or just upgrading to a different 4S ESC. This is the way to go. And when looking at the ARRMA lineup, the 223S, right now, guys, I am not impressed with those cars at all. And if you're on YouTube a lot and you're watching the videos, you probably think I'm out to lunch, because there is a huge crew of people who have bought, and I'm not talking, guys, the influencers. I'm not talking about the guys that are receiving their products for free from the companies. I'm talking people who bought their cars. There is a huge crew of people who have bought the ARRMA 223S line, and they've bought them all and they love them, and every video is super positive. There's no talk about the ESC problems and the runtime, yet it was one of the guys, the first things that got my attention when after I'd ran the Big Rock and I started running this system, this Buggy, was how I went from 13 minutes of runtime, guys, to 33 minutes of runtime on 1500 milliamps less. That really impressed me. And I think if Traxxas, and I know they're not watching this video, but if anybody knows anybody at Traxxas, hey, maybe pass it on. If Traxxas's plan for their cars is to go to this setup, the 4S ESC and the 2400 kV, and they're more non-BL2S versions, they are going to absolutely kill it. Now, before we go on about that, I still need to figure out, guys, how the durability is going to be on this. Like I said, we did break an arm, and we did not break an arm on the Big Rock 223S. But whether it was a bad landing, whether it was the fact, guys, that I had driven this for so long, I don't know. All I can say is, from a purely fun factor point of view and just the enjoyment of driving an RC car, the Jato 4x4 VXL brushless absolutely kills it. I could have drove this thing, guys, all day. I could have kept jumping it. I could have kept driving through the snow. I could have kept just pinning it on the pavement. It was so much fun to drive. And I kind of paused there because I'm like, do I really want to say this? Because I know fanboys, they're not happy to hear this, but to the point that when I got back to my Big Rock, I actually was bored because it didn't drive nice. It didn't go straight. It didn't do anything. And again, a Buggy compared to a monster truck, two different things. These tires compared to the tires that I had on the Big Rock are a different thing. I understand that this is more set up for a dirt track, so these tires were helping with the dirt on the pavement, but this thing, guys, just absolutely killed it. It was so much fun to drive. And when you watch, if you think I'm annoying in this video with the kind of the fanboyism bursting, wait till you watch the running video, because I'm just shocked throughout that video at how well this Buggy drives and how much fun I had driving it. So at this point, guys, I am going to stop talking because I can kind of hear myself right now, and I'm thinking, my God, I sound like the biggest Traxxas fanboy, when in fact, guys, over the years, Traxxas to me has actually gone down and down and down. I am not one of those X-Maxx crazy fanboys that think the X-Maxx is the greatest truck ever. I don't even think it's in the top 5. The Sledge kills it after you modify it and make some changes. It's an absolute monster of a truck. And yeah, their 3S lineup, guys, is amazing. I love the Rally. I love the Stampede. I haven't had a Slash 4x4 in years, so I'm not going to comment on that. But the Traxxas Max for me, guys, was also a dud. I felt like it was like driving a center block on wheels. This thing, on the other hand, guys, is just awesome. It just does everything so friggin' well. It is so much fun to drive. The fact that it looks the way it does, you get the GTR shocks, you get the aluminum brace, aluminum drive shaft, 4S ESC, 2400 kV motor, center differential, no sway bars, but we've already discussed
Now, we lucked out, guys. While I was shooting this video, the RPM arms came in. So I didn't realize that till it was done. So I just added this clip, guys, to the end. But the RPM arms do fit. The only thing is they do not have a spot, guys, back here for the sway bar. So you can see on, here's the broken arm. This would have sat in there like this. You can see that there's a little hole right here. And I'm pretty sure, guys, that is for the sway bar. I would rather have the durability than worry about the sway bars. I think the Buggy itself, guys, I'm pretty sure I already mentioned this, handles great as it is. So having the RPM plastics should add in the durability of both the front and the rear. Now that I know they fit, that there's no problems, I'm going to order the rear ones too. But you know what, guys? That is it. This is a fantastic RC car. That is what I'm going to call it. Because yeah, it's a Buggy, it's 4S, but I look at it as just a great all-around car, even though I know it's a Buggy, but I'm trying to emphasize that I'm putting all RCs kind of into one basket here. And when I see this, I don't necessarily, guys, see a 1/8 scale Buggy. I see another Traxxas 3S-ish platform, but now with GTR shocks, 4S ESC, center diff, 17mm hexes, and with the wing and the Buggy body. So I am, guys, very impressed. If you guys can't tell, stay tuned. The running video is going to be coming soon. I'm going to get that finished. And as always, guys, if you enjoyed this video, give me a big thumbs up. Please subscribe and have a fantastic day.